Something has changed in me, and it really is rather beautiful. For years, discipline was the structure that held me. It gave me stability, sobriety, self trust. It shaped my entire way of being. And from where I'm standing now, well, actually, I'm sitting, and I can feel it in my bones. I'm no longer living from discipline. I'm living from devotion. And today's episode is all about diving into these two ways of living because the truth is, I wouldn't be here without the discipline that taught me how to stay with myself. But what holds me now, what leads me now is devotion. And it's always been there quietly in the background. Now it's at the center of everything. Come with me and let's dive in. Discipline is what you do to access your inherent worthiness. Devotion is what you do when you already know you are. There was a time in my life when I looked like I had it all under control. And to be honest, I did. I could hold it all, keep going, push through, get things done. I knew how to function. We probably want to highlight that, underline it. I knew how to survive. But what nobody saw and what I couldn't yet see in myself at that time was that beneath all of this doing, I was still being run by fractured parts of me, wounded parts of me who were doing their best to stay afloat. There was the little girl in me who believed love was something that she had to earn. So she chased it in the arms of men who didn't love her back, in doing more, in being needed. She clung to attention like oxygen and she didn't care what it cost. Then came the teenager version of me, impulsive, chaotic, the queen of fuck it, let's do it. She was the one who booked the trip when I needed to stay home. She drank the wine when my nervous system was screaming for regulation. She blew the money on the dress when I didn't even have enough money for groceries. Her decisions were wild, exciting, and more often than not, destructive. And she didn't do this because she hated us or she wanted revenge. She just never was taught how to pause, to sit with herself when any discomfort arose. And then another part of me was the overachiever. Now, she was masterful, put together, relentless. She built the businesses, ran the household, kept everything moving, but she was never still. You see, she couldn't rest. And because of that, she didn't know how to receive. She only knew how to do, how to perform. And perform she did online, offline, in love, in relationships. Because underneath all of this, what my overachiever had learned is that, well, she wasn't enough. And if she did enough, was enough, gave enough, she would finally be loved, would get that sense of belonging, which, as I scroll through this and go deeper through the psychotherapy lens, she would feel safe. So, no, in this journey that I've been on, I've never hated discipline. I've actually clung to it at times because discipline was how I survived. It was how I began to reparent those parts of me that had been running the show. I never used discipline to punish myself. I used it to teach myself. You do know that one of the meanings of discipline is to teach. And so, in this process of using the vehicle of discipline, I taught myself how to stay, to pause, to breathe, to stop outsourcing my self worth to visibility or external validation. And I learned, I've just put my makeup on, so I don't want to shed a tear here, but this still moves me. I learned in the process how to be the divine mother and the divine father of me. I became the home I never had. And this journey, it wasn't glamorous. It was gritty. It looked like sitting with emotions so huge. It felt like if I felt them, I would crumble into 1,000 pieces. It looked like not drinking the wine when everything in me wanted to check out. It looked like going to the gym when I didn't want to, eating foods that were good for me when I just wanted to eat the sweets and the sugar. It looked like holding the impulse, sitting with the ache, and doing the next loving thing instead of the next loud thing. And over time, the noise quietened, the chaos softened. And these parts of me, the little girl, the teenager, the overachiever, they started, well, they felt heard, they felt seen, they felt validated because I no longer abandoned them, and they started to feel safe and they felt held. Discipline got me sober. It got me out of debt. It got me off the breadline into a life where I could breathe. And I love this quote by Cher. She says, her mum says to her, "You need to settle down one day and marry a rich man." And Cher turns to her and says, "Mum, I am the rich man." And I use that quote as a mantra for my life. I am the rich man. I provide for me. I have my own back, not just in finances, but in the way I carry myself, in the standards I uphold, in the peace I've cultivated, in the woman I've become. Yet, this, what I've just shared, was only part of the story. The real shift came in the quiet. I always say silence, space, and solitude are medicines. We need to apply them liberally to our lives. When my adult son came to live with me earlier this year, everything in my system wanted to default. Ugh. Woo! Wow. Everything wanted to shut down, to pull away, because I had never been taught to love, that love is safety, that love can be safe, that you can connect with someone, and it can be actually rather wondrous. So when my son came to live with me, I could feel all my old defenses rise. I kind of want to feel like a tsunami and take me over. I wanted to shut down, put up my defenses. I felt myself wanting to snap and bite, and I could feel the resentment seep into me. And then, because all of this was happening inside, I then felt the old cycles of shame coming up. See, you're not a good mother. You can't do this. And yet, I stayed. I didn't let these parts of me take hold. I sat in the discomfort of all my old ways, of all the old ways I had learned to mother. And I sat with it. And that meant for many days I didn't say anything because I could not trust myself to open my mouth. I did not know how to do it. All I knew, my body knew, was how to react, how to shut down. I sat with that. I sat with that. And in that, I didn't abandon myself. I didn't collapse into the shame or into the defenses, the walls. And that process over a period of time, my son and I became close and I stayed whole. I didn't lose myself in that relationship like I've done in so many other relationships in my life. And that's this moment, these moments, because there were many moments, didn't look like much on the outside, but inside, I knew as I sat in the uncomfortability, and this is what discipline has taught me to do, to sit in the uncomfortability and not react. I knew this was it. This thing that was happening, I'd spent a lifetime searching for, the inner safety, the self-trust, the devotion, because that's what I was living in those moments. It wasn't discipline. It was devotion. Oh no, and not the Instagrammable. I can't. There's a long word here, and not the Instagrammable kind. Not the perfectly lit ritual bath or the curated altar or the 5-step morning ritual, but the real kind, the kind that meets you in your breath, in your posture, in the way you speak to yourself before your feet touch the floor. Devotion shows up in how you ride the wave without panicking, how you listen before reacting, how you care for yourself when no one is watching. Devotion. It's not loud. It's definitely not forceful. And it's not doing it for show. It's not performative. It's honest. And it's changed everything in me, in my world, in my business. And as I said at the beginning, I knew devotion was always there in the background. And I started to notice how it had been there in the way that it's in the way that when I went for my morning walks, how every cat that would cross my path, I would sit and talk to it and have a conversation. It's in the way that I'd stop to watch the sky shift at dusk and open myself up to the wondrousness of nature and the awe I felt when I looked at my son sitting across from us. Our relationship is now so full of honesty and intimacy. It still stuns me that I am able to hold this. These weren't random sensitivities. This was reverence. This was the part of me that had always known how to love, how to stay, how to see what is real. I just, before I just hadn't created the safety to let this part of me lead. Yet now I do. Devotion shapes how I move through the world, how I rest, how I choose, how I say no without flinching, how I let people in without putting my walls up. It's the standard now. And I'm not doing this to get any goodies, to prove anything, because this is who I am. I keep saying over and over, it's safe to be me. Being me is enough. It's always been enough. I'm no longer chasing my tail, and I'm no longer chasing anymore anything. I'm not explaining. I'm not tolerating. I'm living a soft, steady, truthful life. And this is the work that I guide women into. It's calling it a glow up is giving it a disservice. It's not a quick fix. It's not a formulaic way of living. It's a return to rhythm, to your truth, to a life shaped by reverence, not reaction, by standards and not survival, by devotion and not discipline. So, no, living this way is not about doing more. Oh, thank goodness I wipe the sweat from my brow. Yet it is about living more honestly. Because when devotion becomes your life's mantra, everything changes. And not because the chaos disappears, because you stop abandoning yourself to outrun it. You stay, you soften, you listen, you move like your life matters. This is the quiet recalibration I walk women through in private mentorship, in the school of devotional living, in the sacred, unseen spaces where it all begins.